Hi everyone, this is Laura from Grading Company. I'm here today with the second project in your April subscription box. This will be our spring bird, and so I'm going to get started on how we're going to do that. So you'll have all your pieces in a bag and you're going to remove that. You're going to have two thicker pieces which we are going to stain, and then we will also have all of your thinner pieces in the template. So we're going to start with staining first, and then I will proceed to the other bits. So you'll need your gloves, your stain, a foam brush, and yeah, that is it. So we'll get on here. So we're going to stain both sides of both pieces. All right, so I just have very little because that's all it's really going to take. So we're using a water-based stain. For those who've never done our boxes before, that's what we like to use because it dries a lot faster. So take your foam brush, give it a dip, and I just like to wipe it on by turning my brush on its side. That way I have more control and it goes on a lot faster. Take some, well, we use blue shop towels because they're lint free and they're really nice for wiping. And so you're just going to wipe that, and then we're going to continue on with the next one. So you want to stain with the grain if you can help it. Sometimes some pieces can make that a little difficult, but at least when you wipe, you want to wipe with the grain because it does look the most natural and you don't have any streaks going in a different direction. So I'm going to do one side first. So that way when I flip it over, I don't get my gloves all full of stain. And any of that charring on the back from the laser will just get covered up by staining it. So give that all a nice wipe. And it will lighten as it dries, and we'll give it a sand and it will soften that up a bit. So we're just going to put that off to the side since you won't need that any longer. And we will move on to the next part. This project goes pretty quickly. So okay, so I don't need this anymore, and you can take off your gloves unless you like to keep them on. Okay, so now we're going to take these pieces out. Make sure your area has no stain drips. So with this one, we're going to remove the insides. Okay, I'm going to actually probably do this differently here. So we're going to pull these out. I'd like to keep the frames in because it just makes it easier for painting and helps keep those edges cleaner. So we're going to take those out and take that one out. And I'm just going to put these over on the front. I'll put some tape on in the back here in a minute. Okay. And then I'm going to pop these 4 pieces out. So these will all be white here. If you can't do it very well, then pull the tape off and that's not a problem. Okay, so then I'm going to turn around and I'm going to tape the back. Oops. I'll take that little eyebrow off here in a second. Don't lose that one either. Now we didn't send you a black in there because the amount that you need is very tiny, and so when it comes to painting this, all you can do is take a black Sharpie and color it in if you don't have any dark black, or if you don't have like a dark gray or black paint, because it really was pointless sending you something that was so tiny. And like I said, a black Sharpie or anything like that will work in taking care of that. All right, so we're gonna get started with this. This will be the light cream color, the same one that you used on the birdhouse base. So that's the one you will use there. You definitely can do both of these projects at once, because it is easier just to have all this paint out at one time. But it doesn't work for me here when I do this for you guys. So, all right, so you're gonna need your makeup sponge, and if you don't have any smaller pieces laying around, then just go ahead and cut yours up. Okay, so we're really worrying about making sure that we don't get any in the edge that is on the outside. We want to try and keep it clean, but we also don't want to get this stuck in here. I'm not worried so much about the inside, because the purple piece will go back in there after and hide that, but I also don't want to get a huge buildup of paint in there either, because then this does not fit back in. So go ahead, take your sponge, dip it in the paint, and then blot it all off so it's almost dry. And then come in here and pounce on those edges. Now it'll probably be kind of hard to see in the video sometimes, because this is almost the same color as the wood, but so just a little bit, blot it all off so it's almost dry, so that way when you squish it, you're not squishing any extra amount into the corners. It's just hitting that top surface. Okay, so that's the first coat. Now, for some reason you happen to get, I don't necessarily, but I'm going to show you anyway. So if for some reason you get a lot of paint on in the inside, just take your baby wipes and then just gently give it a wipe and just clean out anything extra so it doesn't build up. Because remember, you're going to do, I just did 2 coats. Actually, my sample might only just have 1, but I will probably do 2. And so you just don't want that to build up too much. And same with these ones. Just watch these ones as well, because we'll have to stick those other pieces back in there. But just put that off to the side, and we'll come back and check on it in a second. If you happen to notice you did fill some of these edges with paint, you definitely want to make sure you either pop this out as soon as you can so that it doesn't dry to the template, or just come back and give it a wiggle in a few moments so you know it's not drying to the template as well. Okay, so while that's going on, we're going to do this one. Get the stand. Okay, so I'm going to do the purple. So for this one, because it's a bit bigger, you can use a baby wipe to wipe it on, or you can use the makeup sponge. For this, I will just wipe it on. So I'm just going to go and do that. And once again, you want to wipe it on in the direction of the grains so it looks the most natural. And we'll come back and do a second coat on this, but the first one we'll get on. And this one, because we're putting it inside the template or in the frame, it doesn't have to worry about if you got paint on the edges, only if you got really, really lots of goopiness and it prohibits it from going in there. But for mine, it's fine. So we're just going to leave that one. Now this already, because we do such little paint, is already dry. So you're gonna come back in here in its template and gently give it a sand. So that's what's nice about that, because it helps support it. Now, I always say sand with the grain, but sometimes with this, you just want to be careful in sanding it so it doesn't break anything. So don't worry about with the grain on this one. Just really just run that over as gently as you can, and then blow or wipe away all that excess dust in there so the paint doesn't hold on to that. All right, so now we'll do one more quick coat. For me, I think I was fine with one in the first place. I'm just doing two just to show you, but I think if you get it fairly even on the first coat, you'll be fine with one. The colors are pretty close to the wood tone, so it's really easy just to blend it right away. Oh, you know what? I forgot to put one back in there. That's why. I was wondering where that went. Okay, so I'm just going to put this one back in here because this one needs to be the same color. So I'll just turn this over and tape that one in. So you should have the bird frame and the heart frame in here. And we'll just do this one. And okay, my bird's good. Just gonna check, make sure I didn't get too much on the inside. No, that's good. So we'll come back in a second to finish the rest of that heart. We'll just continue on with this one. So you want to take your sandpaper, your fine one here, and just give it a sand with the grain. Smooth out that texture. Give it a white, make sure it feels buttery smooth. And then go ahead and do that second coat again. So a little bit of paint. Now you should notice that second coat will wipe on a lot nicer because it's not snagging those little wood fibers. Once again, when you're done, just check your edges. If you did get too much goopiness, just wipe it off and then just leave it because that will be done. Told you this one moves pretty quickly. Okay, this one should be dry already, so I'm going to come back in here. Okay, and my bird, I just want to check, make sure it's not sticking in here so I can move it. So I'm just going to give it a sand. Okay, and then one last time on the heart. Okay, so those ones are done. We'll just set them there. That one's done. And then we just have to do the white and these little pieces here. So with these ones, they are easier to do if we put them on tape. It won't be so easy to put them back in here because we don't want to paint what we've already done. So with these, I need to do a little rearranging. So I like to paint on parchment paper. Helps for cleanup, but tape does not stick very well to that. So I'm just going to fold it out of the way and stick this here. And that's in your shot. I think you can see that. And I'm just going to kind of overlap them like this. Saves me some space. And a little bit more. For the heart. All right, yeah, you guys can see that, right? Yeah, there we go. Okay, so I'm going to use the same sponge I was using. I'm just going to snip that off. And then I'm going to grab my white. Dip it and blot all of that off. So these two, you want to be careful on any buildup on the edges. I'm just giving that a quick coat, and then we'll come back and sand that. Okay. So for me, I have my dark paint here. So I'm just gonna do the eyelash. And really, I'm just going to use a little tip of my baby wipe. Because it's not gonna matter if you see it on the sides, because the sides are already dark. So I'm just really trying to just wipe a little bit on there. So that's really why we didn't send you any paint, because it really takes nothing at all. So I'll come back to that in a moment. And then same thing with the beak. You're just going to use the cider color, and if you're taping them in place, they'll probably just bounce up and down anyways. So I'm just going to do the same thing. I'm just going to tip it in a little bit. And you're not worried about the edges either so much, because they're going to be hiding in its frame there. So you're just doing the tiniest little drop. Like there's hardly anything on my baby wipe. And I'm just giving that a quick wipe. And then I'll come back and do that one again. Okay, these are dry, so I'm just gonna try and not lift my sandpaper too much so it doesn't catch on those edges. Okay, so if you did get anything on the edges, you can come in and wipe those away. Since you can handle them now before you start to do your next coat. Otherwise, you can just continue on. Now, I like my whites white, so probably for me, I'm going to come back and do a third, but I'll do that in a moment. Okay, so I'm just going to give this a little, oh, that goes that one. Okay. So if you're like me and leave all your paint containers open, just make sure you don't throw it in there. All right, it's fine. I'll just redo that color, which I was going to do anyways. And all right, so these ones I'm going to do again. So I'll grab baby wipe. So for the black, just a tiny bit, and there, that covers up my white. I'll just keep it away from there. And same thing with the orange. Oops. A little bit, Just wipe that one on. There we go. Okay, so those little pieces are done. Okay, one more time on the white. There. Okay. Okay, oops. Okay, so that'll be good. I'm just gonna close that up. And I'm gonna come back and sand this one. And that's all smooth. Okay, and now I'm gonna pull it out of here. So I'm just gonna take my tape off the back. And if you kept checking on that or making sure it wasn't sticking, you should just be able to pop it right out of the frame. This purple one, we're just gonna give it a quick sand. Okay, that one's good. All right, so now these ones are, the back is probably still a bit more wet than the front because it was sitting on the table. So I'm gonna give it a quick sand, just make sure you don't have anything for paint on it. That should be fine. It's not that we're gonna see this part, but if there's too much moisture in there, then it might not stick very well, the adhesive. So just, if you have to, just go take a blow dryer or something and spend a few minutes letting it dry. Otherwise, just let it sit a bit longer. All right, so that one's good. And this one you can sand both sides just because. Okay. All right, and one more time, just give these a light sand. Okay, so just like that, we are ready to get it assembled. Okay, so you're gonna start with this one, and this one is going to be the frame on the outside of the back piece. So just very gently grab a starting place on the back, and that will peel your adhesive off. Okay, there we go. So just gently pull. Most of the time it sticks fairly well. However, when you're getting to some areas, if it wants to lift the adhesive, then just rub this back and let it push it onto the wood a little bit more, and then just continue pulling that off. Now watch, sometimes this backing looks like the color of the wood, so you want to definitely make sure you get it all off. There we go. And you want to try not to touch it because your hands can easily pull it off the wood. Okay, so take this. Now just gently lay it on top. Don't apply any pressure to it at first because you want to make sure you get it all lined up before you press it down. So it will fit exactly. And so you want to make sure that you kind of come around and make sure that it feels even. and it's all lined up. And it will gently sit on top, and it shouldn't fall off, but you should be able to just really look at it and make sure. Now sometimes too, I'm not taking the back of this yet, but I just, whoops, let's circle. Sometimes because the frame is a little thin, and if you push it wrong, it sometimes doesn't keep its shape. So that's why I want to just find the right way that this goes in. Oh, there it is, Kate. You can kind of see there. Okay, so I want to make sure that fits in while I'm making sure this is lined up. So that way, if you squish this by accident, this will still fit in there. So I'll be able to pull that out after. I'll just tip it upside down once we've got this good to go. So this is feeling pretty good. So if you're good with that, you can just press it into place. And then you can plop this out and you can do that one. So just watch, there is a little bit of a off bump on this side that fits in here. So you might want to figure out which way is up first before you start peeling this off. So that way you can just lay it in without having an issue. Okay, so just find that and then press it into place. Now if you feel like you need to do some more sanding now because it's in the template or attached, you can, because now you have that support, and you can just stretch the edges a little bit if you want, or if you don't feel like you did a good enough sand on some of these, you can do it now. Okay, so that part's done. So I'm gonna put in the little orange ones just so I don't lose them, and I'm just gonna do a very gentle sand because I don't want to wear that paint away. Just like that. Same with these, you want to make sure you set your triangles right before putting it in here. That one's there. All right, those ones are there. Okay, so these are for there. So this part is these ones. So they're usually fairly obvious as to where they are going. But if you want to double check before you attempt to put one in, you can definitely do that. Okay, so the next one is the heart. Now you can kind of just play with it. It's a two-piece one too, so you'll kind of play with it and see where you would like it. And then we will have this one, and I think I got a little bit on the side here of my white mishap here. See, even I make mistakes. All right, so grab this. And I'm just gonna move that out of the way, give it a there. And so I didn't push that one too hard, and I'm placing this one in here because I want to make sure that I'm comfortable where I am, because I can probably just move it ever so slightly before it sticks. And then we're going to stick this one on. I don't remember if I did it this way. See, you could do it that way, or you could do it this way. And I think that's what mine is this way. So that choice is up to you. And then you can just set that one into place. Just give it a press. There, it's done. And then you just take your stand and put it in that little slot, and it will stand up for you in front of your sign. All right, well, I hope you like that one. I thought she was really cute, so I thought she was the perfect addition to our Hello Spring sign. All right, guys, we'll see you next month. Thank you.